Hey, hey, welcome to Convos for A Bubbly Life. I'm your host, Tiara, aka T, and I love to live a life that is bubbly. We are exploring the journey of creating your version of a bubbly life, an extraordinary life designed by you. So let's do it. Today, I'm really excited because I have Teresa Ramirez here with me, and we are going to be talking about how she lives a bubbly life and how she helps others do the same thing. So, Teresa, can you take it away? Can you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Thank you, Tara. I'm so excited to be here. I am Teresa Ramirez. I'm a motivational speaker and I speak about kindness. And I speak mostly to parents that want to raise kinder children. With everything going on, we've had so much stuff going on in the world today, and it's not always pleasant. So parents are just grasping at whatever they can get a hold of so that they can ensure their children grow up to be kind, happy, compassionate children. And, we all know that kinder, happier children create a more compassionate world. Oh, yeah. And that's where we have to go. And I think today, it just seems like today there's just something every day in the news. And so we need kindness more than ever.
Oh, so true. I love that. So can you talk about your journey to create, seeing this need in the world and how you created your business?
Started the idea, I guess, started back in 2018. There was a school shooting in Parkland, Florida, that I don't know why that particular shooting, because sadly we've had quite a few, but just touched my heart. And I think I was divinely guided to sit down and write. I wrote a letter called Dear Students, and I grieved with these students and I empathized with them. But then I thought, there's got to be something they can do. So my original thought was to talk to the kids to say, hey, why don't you be nicer to each other? Say hi to each other in the hallway. If somebody drops their pencil or their books, pick it up. Just simple. That's the key. Simple, everyday things that can help them. Well, I wrote that letter and set it to the side because I at this point, I'm like, okay, now what do I do? And then probably a year later, I just sat down with it. And I thought, how can I reach out? So I started a 21-day journey in kindness, and I did it all on Facebook. And I just started with be kind to you. That's the number one. It's always the number one rule, no matter what. You be kind to you first, because you want to be healthy and strong so you can demonstrate kindness throughout, especially to your kids. But then we started there and I went through, each day was a challenge that you had to meet. So we had gone through that. I actually spoke at several schools, and then COVID hit. So we're all home and we're all on social media. And I really wasn't, I didn't read a lot of blogs or anything until that time. And I started reading what adults wrote to each other and was shocked at how mean we can be, as adults can be. And I'm thinking, are the kids? And your kids do read your social media. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, my kids don't pay attention. Oh, yeah, they do. They do. So I've switched my focus to working with the parents and giving them some building blocks I use my kind framework, some building blocks, and I keep it very simple because parents, I don't need another thing on my plate. I'm so stressed out. This is things that the ideas, the building blocks can be worked into your day-to-day life. Nothing too strenuous. Now, if you want to go and do the big foundations and the big sock drive for the homeless, you go, if you've got the time and you want to do it, you go for it. But what I talk about is the simple, easy, please and thank you, open the door, smile and say hi. Just the simple things. Because I think somewhere along the line, we've lost that. And I don't care. Everybody's like, well, no, I knew this, I do that. I said, then why is the stuff in the news like it is? Why was there a school shooting in South Carolina last week? Why? And I hate to bring this up because I know everybody's sick about it, but why did somebody slap somebody on national television? So we're not getting enough kindness, or I don't think that we can get enough kindness. We just still need it.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree. It comes from kindness. is like something that is kind of innate within us, but I think we've gotten to a place where we've gotten so stuck into like social media or like whatever, everything else that's going on, and we're, you know, anxious for because of work or school or whatever, and it's kind of like it's no longer on the forefront of our minds to do the like the little things, and those little things add up. Like whether it is, you know, I saw today, actually I was in a parking lot, and this older lady like kind of tripped, and this younger gentleman like went and helped her, and I was like, you know, wow, that's amazing. And it like hit and it touched my heart, and then I was like, man, wow, like that seems like such a normal thing to do. But the fact that, especially living in like Los Angeles, where I feel like sometimes people are like just like in their own little world, it's not quite New York, but like still like, you know, doing their thing and zooming around and like kind of stuck with their phone in their face or whatever, and not really paying attention or conscious to like just that little thing, like, you know, offering a hand, opening a door, saying please or thank you, or even smiling, especially to one another. It just, and you know, with the mask and everything, it even gets harder.
And oh, by the way, look up.
Right.
Put this, you know, don't walk into. I think we have become a society that does this. You know what the top of everybody's head looks like. You don't know what their face looks like.
Right. I know what your hairstyle is. I have no idea what anything else looks like.
And it's funny you said, you know, such a simple thing that didn't cost that gentleman anything to help her out, and it probably didn't take any time at all.
No.
And I saw something in the grocery store. Again, something simple. A woman was in the produce section, and she had her toddler was in the car screaming their head off, and I just felt so bad. And I was getting ready to walk over, and another gentleman came over because she couldn't get the stupid plastic bag open.
Right.
And you know, we've all been there where you just want to go, why? And you know, and then you've got the screaming toddler. And I said, so her day is going downhill fast. This gentleman came over, and then you wanted to slap him because it took him to step in the bag. But you know, her day went from to 100 in seconds, and it didn't cost anything and didn't take him any time at all. That it's that kind of stuff. What was the other? I have lots of grocery stores. I seem to see them. But deli counter. And I had ordered what I wanted. Well, the gentleman next to me was in a wheelchair. She couldn't see him over the counter. So I just on the down low, because I didn't want to embarrass him. I said, you know, you do have another customer over here. And that gentleman looked at me, he said, thank you. You know, I'd be sitting here forever waiting. It happens every time. Oh. And you just made my day. And I'm like, oh, you know, but again, it cost me nothing in 2 seconds of my time. And then and it didn't interrupt my day. I just like I said, it flows. It's just everyday things, but you got to put the phones down, people, and you have to look around, engage in your life again. I think, you know, live, like we've always said, live in that moment, but you have to get up and look. And then you have all the, like you said, it's a bubbly life. I said, you know, that made me feel real good when he said that. Yeah. And the great thing, the beauty of kindness, which I hadn't mentioned yet, is that, you know, that gentleman and I exchanged kindness. His serotonin levels went up, and so did mine. Serotonin levels are your happy hormones. So now you got two people that are happy. But the fascinating thing is, anyone that saw us, saw that interaction, saw your interaction, their serotonin went up too. So we're making other people happy. It's creating that ripple. And my thing is, you've got all these ripples of kindness. The more little, and just little stuff, the more we do, the more those ripples can merge, and we can create the wave that goes across the country and around the world. And that's the goal.
Oh my gosh, I love this. It makes me so happy because, like, you know, when I think about the impact of living a bubbly life, and like how I define that is just an extraordinary life by our own design. Like what might be a bubbly life for you can be different than what it is for me. And that's okay. And we can be okay with like liking and enjoying different things and having different desires in the world. And one of the biggest things that like I feel like is when you live a bubbly life, you're living a fulfilling life. You're living an extraordinary life, and you're happy because of it, right? And when you're happy people tend to do more kind things, and you smile at other people, and it just ripples out. And that's the effect that I want to have too, is like having people feel good and continue to pass on that goodness.
Well, and then, the happiness and the feeling good, and you're passing that around. You're not, the more you fill your life with that, you're not going to have time for all the negative stuff, the negative emotions. You're not going to have those moments where you lose it and start screaming and yelling at somebody. That's why I said that, the more we have, and I said it can be simple. And with parents, when I'm talking to parents, I'm saying, okay, parents, take control. You're the CEO of your family. Okay, you're at the top of the food chain. You're the one that creates the culture and the philosophy of your family. So, take responsibility and do that. And it doesn't, and like I said, a lot of parents are, I just don't have time. I said, easy peasy stuff. You're walking up to that grocery store, cart in the parking space. Just take it and keep on going. You now have a cart and you've cleared up a parking space for somebody else. You've made somebody else's day and they don't even know it. Mm-hmm. All that kind of stuff. It just every day, just walking through the life thing. I know I saw in a school actually yesterday coming here, and I'm pretty sure it was the principal. Somebody said, "Oh, that's the principal. He does it all the time." Greeting the kids as they walk in the door. Now, I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, he's giving these kids hugs. Go get him. And he said, oh, and one kid must have looked sad because he gave him a big hug, walked them to the door with his arm around them. So that I'm just like, oh my God, it's again, that really was no big deal. It's a simple thing. So keeping it simple, huge impact.
Yeah. And I think you said it earlier where we have to be engaged in our lives. The way we notice these moments is paying attention, right? And I talk a lot about, like, when I do my just by myself podcast, about our awareness and having self-awareness and, being aware of our own emotions, and that'll help us guide us, but also being aware of our surroundings, what's happening in our world, seeing those moments, those are I consider those miracles. Those are little miracles that remind us how good life can be, how joyous and how wonderful people are, when we pay attention, when we let go of the stuff that we see on repeat on the news. Because I know from my education in communications, it's if it bleeds, it leads. And that was the thing that they always taught us, was find the dirt, find the whatever, find the ground, and then throw in a little happy piece at the end to make sure people come back tomorrow to listen. And we don't need that.
Because you're all happy.
Yeah.
And then, and I extend it just from each other, but you also have to be kind to the planet. And I said, I just did this manatee day was last week, and I did a video on manatees and how to save them. And these little plastic thingies, I gave the idea, because I hadn't heard this either, that you cut the little loops and then it can't get caught around a neck or a snout or a fin and that kind of thing. But I said, how many people buy soda and beer with this? Buy wine, you can recycle the bottles, but
yes.
So you just don't think about it. So try to buy, instead of buying your soda or beer with the things, buy them in the boxes where you can recycle the boxes. Mm-hmm. It's again, it's just the things you don't think about. This also is April is Arbor Day is in April. Earth Day is in April. So I know I'm going out with the group because I'm in Cincinnati and we're on the Ohio River. So I'm going out with the group the 23rd, I think it is, to go pick up trash along the river.
Oh.
I said that's a little bit bigger thing, not as simple for some people, but if you've got the time and can grab a group of people together, use your social media and say, hey, we're all meeting here, and pick up a park. Or for you're out in California, pick up the trash on the beach.
Oh yeah.
Again, and then how much fun can that be? You have a lot of fun doing that. That's the other thing. You have fun doing this, incorporating it into your life.
And you're making friends. And I think that's another thing. Sometimes we can be we all have our moments where we want to sit by ourselves and hermit, if you will. But we're natural, pack animals. We like to have conversations and be around one another. So when we're kind to one another, of course, we're going to attract more people to us. And when we do things like getting together and doing something kind for our community, for our environment, we have opportunities to make friends.
get out of the house. I think that's the other thing that COVID did to us. We are all working at home, or a good chunk of people now work at home, and you don't leave the house. Well, get a community event together. Another example, I've got tons of examples, so bear with me. It was a women's group I spoke to who said they wanted to do something together as a group. And I said, okay, what's going to work for you? Let's just brainstorm different ideas. And we had come up with all sorts of things, and cleaning up the park and different things. And one woman said, well, I want to do something for the homeless. And I said, well, the homeless like new socks, new t-shirts, new underwear are the top 3 items homeless shelters request. So she said, socks. I want to do socks. Well, the next thing you know, I don't know how many thousands of pairs of socks they ended up with, because they combined their efforts. They took everybody in the group, and each one, I told 2 friends and they told 2 friends, and it just went out like crazy. Somebody knew a bar owner. The bar didn't open till 4. So he said between 11 and 2, have them drop them off here on this day. And he said that gives you a space to collect all the socks. And like I said, I don't know how many thousands they ended up with, but that was just a collaborative effort. And really the lady said, all we did was say, hey, we were talking about it. The guy said, oh, you can use my bar. And I was talking about it, and we put it on the social media. And the next thing you know, again, it was a simple thing. She said, then I took them. She said it was more work for me to take it onto the homeless shelter, because she said her car wasn't big enough. So somebody said, I got to pick up, we'll go.
Oh, that's amazing.
But again, it was a great thing and a great community event. It bonded those women together as well. So yeah, get out there and form some groups and see what else you can do. Absolutely. And you have fun. Again, you have fun when it's all said and done at the end of the day.
I love this. So I'm curious, have you always had this kind of drive to make sure that people were kind to each other? Like before 2018, like what were the things that you were doing?
Always have had an underlying thing. I think what's happened since I'm more aware, more in that moment kind of thing. But, I always held a door open, always had please and thank you manners. And if I saw, like the gentleman if I saw somebody stumble, it was just always an automatic thing to jump out and help somebody. So I think, yeah, deep down, I've always had it. Now I'm up looking for it. I'm more aware. So I have more opportunities because I'm actually looking. I'm actually seeing my surroundings than I did before all this started.
And do you think that's part of like your upbringing of like how you were raised of like paying attention? Was it something ingrained?
I think it was. I just recently, I lost my mother in 2020 and my father in 2021. And I think they, when we were doing both of their eulogies and everything, my brothers and sisters and I just kind of looked at each other and said, man, we are such underachievers when we started writing out there, because they were both active in World War II. They both did so much in scouting and other community events. They just always did. They were always giving back. They were huge into their church. We always kept saying, because they were in their 90s when they passed, both of them. And we laughed because they were still working the different fundraisers, and they had a community garage sale, and they had festivals and things there. And they were still going and working these in the fish fry. And we're like, let the younger people take over. No, we can still do it. We're still going. Like, oh my gosh. So yeah, they always did. And I'm sure we always went with them.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And I feel like that's like, once we start as like adults, like doing these things, and it passes on to the children, and it passes on, and it just continues to like cycle and move through. And that's how we create a kinder world, right?
That's right. And I know another thing, like the kids will see and will notice, they may not notice you bought soda in a box versus plastic rings, but they're going to notice, this is one thing I do. There's so many people holding the signs and asking, I can't work, I can't do this, whatever, and asking for help. So what I started to do is pass out kind bars.
Oh,
instead of, because, if they're hungry and they're starving, this is a great little nutrition bar. So I started passing those out. And if your kids are in their car, they're watching you do that. They're watching you pass that out. They're watching you hold a door. They're watching you smile and say hi to somebody. They're watching, oh gosh, I just lost my thought. A gas station, they're watching you at the gas pump, let somebody in front of you or move your car so that they can get in better. So if they're in there, they're watching you, they're reading your social media. So you want to continue to post all those fun, positive affirmations or little jokes, or I posted this today because I just thought he was the cutest thing ever, and just to make people smile. And they're watching your social media. So that's teaching them that this is what I should be doing, and how you speak as partners, how you speak to each other, how you treat your children too. And I'm big into this is, post little notes in their bathroom mirror, or put it in their lunchbox. Or one of my favorites is, because somebody said, well, they buy their lunch. And I said, okay, can they take, depending on the schools, when they can have their cell phone and when they can't, said, text them a note. I'm thinking of you during their lunch hour, and they'll get that while they're having lunch, depending on what the cell phone rule is for the school. But those just little, again, it's just the silly little things, and doing things as a family, cooking dinner together, and if you're a stressed out mom, you need all the help you can get. So, hey, can you chop up this? Can you do this? And you're doing it together, and you're talking. That's the other thing. You're talking. This is sitting down. This is nowhere to be had. You can't be on social media when you're chopping up vegetables. It just doesn't work. So
I've tried.
So all those little things, and your kids are going to pick up on that.
Oh yeah, totally. I love all of this. This is so much good little tips and tricks on how to really connect in more. And I love that connection. I'm like, oh, there was a thought. Oh, yeah, I was going to say, so for Christmas with my family, so my parents are in Virginia and I live in LA. And so, we send texts every so often, and we call at least once a week. But a friend of mine told me of this really, really cute gift idea. And it is basically this lamp. Right. And so each side gets a lamp. So I bought one for myself, and I sent one to my parents for Christmas. And so depending on who it is, one of us touches it and the lamp will light up. And so it's just kind of hey, I'm thinking of you. Right. And so the lamp lights up wherever you set it. So mine is set in my little kitchen area, so I can see it, whenever. And, I pass by it, and I might have a thought about my dad, and I tap on it and whatever. And it lights up, and then it lights up on their end. And if they're somewhere in the vicinity of it and they see it, they can tap it back, and mine will change color. So I know that they got it. And it's
that.
thing.
The link for that.
Yeah. I'll definitely drop
that. Is real. I have never heard of that one. That is cool. That is really cool.
Yeah. I got it off of Amazon. Super cool, super convenient, and it's fun. And it's a fun, different way than to let somebody know, hey, you're on my mind.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
It's beautiful. So speaking of fun little ways to let people know that you're on your mind, I know that you have a bubbly little gift for people. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've got blowing bubbles. I don't know if you guys can see that. And you can get these, and I'm going to blow them just because it's fun. Because they have bubbles. We're talking about bubblies and a bubbly life. When you talk about bubbles, do you not just smile?
Yeah.
You just cannot, bubbles just make you feel better. I don't care if you're having the worst day, you pick up a bottle of bubbles and you're going to feel better. So out on my Journey and Kindness Facebook page, you can just fill a form out and I will mail you some bubbles for free.
Oh my God.
So that's for all your listeners out there. They get a free bottle of bubbles if they let me know.
I love that. And can you repeat the name of your Facebook page?
It's facebook.com/Journey and Kindness.
Journey and Kindness. I love that. I'll definitely drop that in the description as well, so people can check that out. So in terms of the work that you do, how can people connect with you, book sessions, have you come speak if they have something that they want you to speak at?
Oh, I love to, and I love to speak. I get crazy in front of people, but that's okay. and this message can be tweaked, and I can customize it for whatever you want to talk about. But You can, again, on that Journey in Kindness Facebook page, just message me and I will make sure be available for you. We'll just check the schedule, but that's just a message and you'll get me.
Super simple. I love it. Yes. And then I know you're working on something else for people to check out, a little journal maybe. Can you talk about that?
Yes, it is my Journey in Kindness Journey Journal. And hopefully that's going to be ready in about a month. So I will let everybody know when it's out there and you'll be able to get that on Amazon when it's ready to rock and roll.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. Is there anything else that you want to make sure that our listeners hear from you today?
Just the biggest thing is you're the example that your children see, that any young person sees, and you want to be that example for them. Again, our happier, kinder children are going to raise a more compassionate world when they get older. And that's what we need today.
I love it. This conversation has been amazing. Thank you so, so much, Teresa. It's been amazing.
Well, thank you.
And I want to remind my listeners, of course, if you guys want to share how you're living a bubbly life, I am accepting applications at www.abubbly.life/luxury living. Just click on the podcast post and check it out and fill out your application there. And of course, you can see all of the other fun things I've got going on. And with that, I want to say thank you all for listening. Teresa, again, thank you so much for being here. It's been wonderful.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right.